All right, I'm looking at another Fibble. This is the game that's just like Wordle, but on every row, one of the clues is a lie. They're starting us with AVIAN. Let's see. Maybe we could do like an AI. I'd like the I to be true. And doing one of the A's when we've got the two A's could be good to look for contradictions, theoretically. Let's do flail, because again, double letters can be good in Fibble. Okay, well, one of the I's is a lie, and one of the A's is a lie. So everything else has to be true. Now, we don't know which of the gray A's would be the lie. Well, we do know, actually, because if this is true, then this one is the lie, because it should be yellow. So actually, this one has to be true. Right, because if this was true and this was a lie, there would have to be an A fourth that would make this a lie, because you're not going to have two A's, and then both the I's would have to be true. So this one would be the lie. So this one is definitely true. Okay. So if we have the A, we could do AI still. Something like train, but we can't do the N. Trait. Another double letter. That's pretty good. Okay. Well, one of these A's is a lie, so these are definitely true, which therefore means that's the lie. This is a lie. This is true. This is true. Okay. So now we could still do TR and T, though. We could do something like that. Strut. Okay, very good, very good. Interesting, no contradictions, but we can't do all of those yellows, obviously. So, at this point, I don't think there can be two T's. These would both be lies. It would have to be an anagram of strut, but like... You are... The problem is you have two T's, and one could be at the end, but the other one... It's just not going to work. Yeah, it's not going to work to do that. I don't think those can be lies. I think those have to be true. But we could do like a U... Oh, we can't do the T at the end, though. That's the thing. So we can't do like spurt, because that would make the gray T a lie, which would make the yellow T true. So that doesn't work. So if we want to have... Oh, and we know one of these two is a lie. Right? Because they're the only ones left on that row. I was going to say we want one of the yellows to be a lie because it's supposed to be green, maybe. But this one can't be a lie because it's supposed to... Can it? This would have to be a lie, but that would make both of these lies. No, this would be true. The yellow would be true. If there's a T at the beginning, that's possible. Otherwise, you could do a T here... The problem then becomes, so if you do a T and an R, like let's say we do RT here, right? The problem is it makes the T and the R true here, but it also makes the T and R true up here, and one of those has to be a lie. So there either has to not be a T or an R, or one of them is green. So if this is a lie, then you'd have to have... So this would be true. That would be, if it's a lie because it's green, right? This would be true. This would be true because this R. You're not going to do SR. So basically, okay, here's the thing. If this is the lie because it's green, this is probably the lie because you're not going to have SR. If this is the lie because it's green, then clearly this is the lie. If either of these are the lie because they're supposed to be gray, then the T or the R will be the lie. Either way, the S, T, or R here has to be the lie, and this is true. I think. I think that's what I'm saying. So, and again, if the T or the R is not in the position in trait, then it's gray. So we could do ST, U, and then we would need new letters. Stump would work. It doesn't work because... Why? Oh, because the T is the lie. Haha. Yeah. The T being the lie means you can't have an R. So the T can't be second. So you can't do ST. You could do something like this. Shuts would work. Sure, let's go with that. Okay. So one of these T's is a lie. So the green S is true. Okay. Which tells us that if this is a lie, it's because it's gray, not because it's green. which then makes this the lie as well. That's possible. And if this is the lie, again, I don't think it's not going to be SR. So one of these, so the T and the R, one of them is not in the word, is what I'm saying. So if we do this, we can still do this, but would have to be maybe like an E at the end. What would that be? I don't think that's gonna work. I'm thinking there's maybe an R. Something like slurp, but we can't do the L. Spurt, but we can't do the T at the end. And we have to have a lie. So maybe SHU R. Sure, that's a microphone brand. I don't think it's an acceptable guess. We could do SOU sours. Sours would work as a guess at least. Okay. So one of these uses a lie, so the S's are definitely true. Wow. Okay, so one of these uses a lie. Whichever one is a lie, the T or the R is true. So that just confirms what I already thought, that one of these is gray. There's a T or an R. If we have the U, then there's no R. If the green U is true, then there's no R. So then we need to have a T, which would have to be here, because the R being the lie here would make the yellow T true. But I don't know what would work there. So now I'm thinking that there's no T, and the green U is the lie. So we've got surge. Strut would have two lies. Oh, we can't do the right. Oh, okay. So if there's an R, then these are both true. If there's a T, then these are both true. So if the U is here, the R still has to be there. Or you are this way. Sugar. No. There's no A. The U could be there. We can put the R. What happened? We can put the R at the end, but super. You won. It was super. It was not a super solve, I feel like. Man, I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. I was trying all the wrong things. We got there eventually in 6, but man, that took a lot of thinking. I don't know. Just wasn't seeing what I needed to see today, but that's all right. Let me know how your solve went. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more.